Today we are going to talk about vector databases. There are many use cases of vector DB, but today we will talk within the context of GenAI. We will cover basic idea behind vector databases, type of databases, some of the popular databases name, and where we can use in GenAI. Vector database designed for similarity search. Similarity search meaning you can search items like laptop, earphone, mobile, toys with some specific features. For example, I want to search a laptop with 32 GB RAM and the price range within 30 to 40K. So vector database will give you the relevant results. Another example is I'm looking for lower loan interest from the banks. So vector database will give you the lower interest rate list. Vector database is a kind of a backbone to building a RAG pipeline in a GenAI agents because while we are building an agent, we have to pass some of the context to LLM. So LLM should give a accurate or relevant output. And another possibility is sometimes LLM don't have a accurate response. Sometimes it will say I don't have the information because LLMs are trained on a public data. So in this case, you can build your private information using vector database, and that information you can plug in a RAG. So GenAI agent use that information in a runtime. So there will be some scenario where agent will first check in RAG using vector database. If the results are available, it will build the context and further pass to LLM for a better result and the output. Here we will talk about one of the core concept of vector database, which is embedding. Vector database use embedding model internally to build knowledge base. So in this diagram you can see this laptop has 32 GB RAM is a raw text or a input which will break down into numeric embeddings and store into database. So if we go through the step one by one, first we will have a raw text which is this laptop has 32 GB RAM. This text will pass on to embedding model, and the embedding model break down this text into numeric embeddings, or sometimes we call as vectors or multidimensional data. Now this data will store on disk or in memory. This process is hidden because it's an internal part of vector database. So user will not going to do all these things. User will just pass the raw text to build a knowledge base, and vector database do everything internally and store on a disk or in a memory. Same way, if the user want to search it, then the the vector database will provide some interface through which user can pass on the query, and it will give you the relevant results. For the understanding purpose, we can divide into two parts. One is a write operation, second is search operation. With the help of write operation, we can build knowledge base and store into vector database. And with the help of search operation, user can search existing information and find out relevant results. So let's jump to write operation first. You can see we have two prompts here. This laptop has 32 GB RAM and red shirt price $10. These two input will go to embedding model. embedding model generate embeddings, and those embeddings will store into vector database. On search side, the user will give some random input. For example, the user searching for laptop, that input will go to embedding model, and we will generate embeddings for it. For example, 0.12 is the embedding. It could be one or more, but for the sake of simplicity, I'm using one here as of now. So that embedding will compare with existing embedded data which we have in a vector database. So vector database internally use many algorithms, for example cosine, similarity, dot product, to find out similar results. So based on that, it will return the relevant information. For example, in this laptop has 32 GB RAM, output will come. Vector database can be divided into two parts based on the storage type. So one is a in-memory storage. So we have fast, chroma, and redis. If you want to store embedding in memory, and if you want to store on disk, then we have Pinecone, Milvase, Quadrant, and Viviet. If you are building GenAI agent, then you can use vector database as a RAG. Here you can see we have some component: user, GenAI agent, embedding model, vector DB, and LLM. So this flow divided into two part. One is a offline and the second is a real time. In a offline, you can see we are building knowledge base in with the help of three steps, where we are generating the embeddings and storing into vector database. And in a second activity, which is a real time, where the user is interacting or user is sending a prompt or query, and that query will convert it into embedded query, and then it we will get some context from the vector database, and that context will pass on to LLM, and then we will get some relevant results.